Okay, let's unpack this.
Welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're looking at a bunch of sources about that recent WNBA game, the Chicago Sky versus the Dallas Wings. Our mission, basically, is to sift through all the details and pull out the really key stuff. We're talking about the big moments, the standout players, and maybe some surprising stats that, really tell the story of how this game went down. You'll get the quick version of what happened and why it's worth talking about.
And yeah, looking at these sources, what immediately jumps out is this mix of incredible individual performances happening inside what turned out to be a really close contest. The Sky got the win 97-92 in the end, but getting there was, well, anything but simple. We saw players from both teams just have massive nights, but obviously only one team walks away with the W. It wasn't just about runs, it felt more like a game defined by these huge individual moments that honestly could have tipped the scales either way.
Absolutely. And early on, a lot of the Sky's momentum came from Camila Cardoso. Reading through the reports, her game wasn't just solid, it was a career-best 23 points, and she shot the ball really efficiently too. What really struck me was her first half. I think she had 14 points, shooting really well, grabbing key offensive boards. That kind of dominance inside really helped Chicago build up a lead. I think it got up to 13 points at one stage. Before they ended the half, up 49-43, her scoring and getting those extra chances really set a tone, forcing Dallas to adjust from the get-go.
Right. And while Cardoso was doing her thing early, we also saw something pretty historic happening for the Sky franchise, centering around Courtney VanderSloot. She had a great overall game, 13 points, 9 assists, 4 steals, a really solid line. But within that, she hit 2 big milestones. She came into the game needing exactly 13 points to pass Allie Quigley, her wife, for the franchise's all-time scoring record, and she got it, hitting a pull-up jumper there in the third quarter. What's also pretty cool is that she'd actually tied Quigley's record for most field goals earlier, hitting a 3 back in the second quarter. So you had Cardoso dominating down low early, and then VanderSloot was kind of rewriting the record books as the game went on. It really highlighted both the current team and the Sky's history.
Yeah, there was a really memorable moment for VanderSloot in the Sky, happening right there in the thick of this tight game. Because look, on the flip side, the Dallas Wings were getting an equally, maybe even more, spectacular performance from Ogunbowale. The sources all highlight she finished with a season-high 37 points. And what's really interesting there, she did it while shooting way better than her season average coming in, especially from deep. She hit 6 threes on 12 attempts. She basically just, strapped the team to her back, kept attacking, hitting difficult shots, trying to counter everything Chicago threw at them.
And that massive effort from Ogunbowale almost pulled out the win for the Wings. She was just relentless, particularly down the stretch. The reports detail how she hit that huge three-pointer with just over 2 minutes left to play, and that shot actually put Dallas ahead, 92-91. That felt like a moment where her sheer individual brilliance might just be enough, especially considering she'd had some efficiency struggles earlier in the season. To deliver like that and hit such a clutch shot, well, that was a big statement from her personally. It really set things up for a dramatic finish.
And then right there, the game twists again. After hitting that go-ahead 3, Ogunbowale actually missed her last 3 shots. The Sky, even after giving up the lead, they didn't panic. Angel Reese, who had a pretty decent game herself with 6 points, 9 boards, 5 assists, she made the play that mattered most. The sources pinpoint her scoring inside with about 1.21 left, putting Chicago back up 93-92. That basket kicked off what ended up being a 6-0 run for the Sky to close out the game and seal the win after all that late drama. It just goes to show, even with these amazing individual duels, executing as a team in those final crucial moments is often what decides it.
So what's the takeaway here for you?
Well, this game was a really interesting example of how huge individual nights. You had Cardoso's career high setting the early pace, VanderSloot breaking franchise records mid-game, and then Ogunbowale's season high nearly winning it for Dallas. How all that plays out in a really close, hard-fought team game that comes down to the final minute. Both teams saw players hit significant personal peaks, but the team results still hinged on just a handful of plays right at the very end. It kind of raises that question for you to mull over as the season goes on. How much do these individual explosions really swing the final result for the team, especially now, early in the season, when teams are still finding their identity and chemistry? Dallas dropped to 1-5 despite Ogunbowale's heroics, while the Sky got their first win, moving to 1-4 because they found a way late. And interestingly, these two teams actually play each other again pretty soon.